All right. Hi there, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. We've got those strong storms that are pushing through portions of northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Here in studio right now, keeping an eye on everything. We already had the majority of the activity move through northwest Arkansas. We didn't have any severe thunderstorms, thankfully, but we did have some gusty winds. There are I know some tree branches down in some locations. Jeff says that there's no power in Prairie Grove, which is no surprise because these storms, if we take a look at Mega Doppler here, have a tremendous amount of lightning with them. And that one storm that moved through northern Washington County and southern Benton County was really intense. That one was very, very strong as it pushed through the area. But the one we're watching right now is going on near Fort Smith. And I'm going to take off the lightning here because there's a ton of it, first of all, and it's covering up everything. But we got a flash flood warning in effect for portions of Crawford, Washington, southwestern Washington County, Sebastian County, Cherokee County, Sequoia County, Adair, and LaFleur County. So a very large area under this flash flood warning. And it's no surprise because this storm, as it moves off to the southeast, is producing a tremendous amount of heavy rainfall. We've also got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I've been watching very closely, based on all the training that we've done on QLCS type setups. The tornado potential right now is not there yet. But still watching it because it ramps up a little bit, then it dies down, ramps up a little bit. Right now, though, it's certainly something we got to watch very closely south of Fort Smith. There's very gusty winds, no doubt about it. And if we go back to our Fort Smith Public Library camera, it looks like our Miss Laura's camera just went down. I'm going to check on that in just a minute. But you can see very heavy rain, intense lightning, a lot more lightning with these storms that are going on right now compared to what we saw yesterday. That's something I'm noticing. I was talking to Dan this morning. It's not necessarily with cloud to ground lightning, but it's with those anvil crawlers. And I'm noticing just a lot more lightning with these storms. Let's also look at our Alma camera. So that one looks like it's down right now. I'm going to go ahead and look here on WSI and see if that is actually the case. It might be something that's going on with OBS. Yeah, look at this. So I'm going to go to WSI 1 full. And you can see definitely some rain sheets going on. This is very similar to what we saw in northwest Arkansas. And it is crazy. And Van Buren, that is for sure. In fact, you guys are probably getting some really gusty winds right now with that storm. Greenwood, Zachary Hall's neck of the woods, is about to experience some very intense wind as well. So this storm is definitely ramping up right now. It's definitely a whole lot stronger than it was before. And it's producing very heavy rainfall. There's no doubt about that. That's why we've got that flash flood warning in effect. Though, one thing I am noticing is that there is a little bit of back building with some of these thunderstorms just off to the west of Fayetteville. So I wouldn't rule out more heavy rainfall moving into the Fayetteville area later on this morning, which is why we're going to be watching that very closely. Obviously, that could impact the morning commute. Magazine. What are you going to see in Magazine? Charity. You're going to see some pretty intense rainfall pretty soon. It looks like that storm's moving to the southeast. I would get ready, Charity, because this storm is really starting to ramp up right now. If we go back to Holly and Cooling Mega Doppler, there's Magazine. This storm now has a considerable warning attached to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go let our production team know, and we're going to do a cut in here. There isn't, so I see a lot of folks have some questions right now. Where's the rotation located, Stacy says. So, Stacy, at this time, what we're looking at is just a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, there is maybe a broad area of rotation going on just to the west of Barling, but at this time, I don't see anything that indicates to me that there's a tornado. But I'll tell you what, these damaging wind gusts can be just as bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let our production team know real quick so that we can get somebody in here to maybe do a weather cut in really quick before we come on air at 5 o'clock, because these storms are starting to get very, very strong in the River Valley right now. Unfortunately, we don't have a camera southeast of Greenwood. We don't have our Mount Magazine camera anymore. At least I don't doubt that right now. And I mean, we saw that on that WeatherBug Network camera over Miss Laura's. This storm is really starting to ramp up right now. That's why we're on this Weather Live. That's why I started this, because I saw these storms ramping up in the River Valley, and I knew that they were trouble. So I'm going to be right back. We'll let our production team know, and then we'll probably do a weather cutting very soon here. So we can talk about these thunderstorms. I'm just kind of walking back and forth right now. I'm the only one in studio. So I'll be right back. All right, folks, I'm right back. Sorry about dipping out for just a few moments. I had to do that because we're going to be doing a cut-in. We're going to go on air for a brief period of time, and we're going to talk about these storms. But again, severe thunderstorm warning with the considerable tag attached to it right now, just to the southeast of the Fort Smith area. Again, this thunderstorm is really ramping up right now. It doesn't have any tornado potential as far as I see, but definitely very strong winds, up to 70 miles per hour possible. The hail potential is overall very low in terms of severe hail. It's still something that we're watching very closely at this time. A lot of wind and rain, lightning going on in Gans, Oklahoma. See that? Shauna, thank you for that report there. No power in Sonora, says Karen. Springdale, Leslie, the overall risk for thunderstorms is low in northwest Arkansas. My focus right now is on the River Valley and these storms that are going on there because we have no severe thunderstorm warning. Terry, no tornado potential, but it's very strong winds. That's what it is right now. That's what's causing that power flickering. It's very strong winds, and the sound is all jacked up right now. Lots of echoing. That's because, Jennifer, I'm going back and forth. I'm having to go out of into the production room, let them know that we're going to go on air. So I'm kind of a little far away from the microphone at times. So I apologize for that. I'm the only one here. So I'm having to go back and forth there because we're going to be doing something on air. So let folks know about this severe thunderstorm warning. So I apologize for that. Another severe thunderstorm warning issued just to the southeast of that considerable tag. That's for Logan County and Northeast Scott County. It's this one right here. That goes until 4:45 a.m. So these storms are moving pretty quickly right now. They're moving at about 35 to 40 miles per hour off to the southeast. This storm definitely is a whole lot stronger than what we're seeing in northwest Arkansas. And in northwest Arkansas, still saw some gusty winds, but the severe weather potential wasn't all that high. Very heavy rainfall though, and we are seeing localized flooding in portions of northwest Arkansas. I can confirm that. We're also seeing a tremendous amount of heavy rainfall in the River Valley with this one storm. This storm right here, if it was slower moving, it would be really bad. Thankfully, it's moving off pretty quickly. So hopefully things can die down a little bit in the River Valley. Okay. So let's go back to one of our WeatherBug Network cameras. This is our public library cam here. We're going to take a look at these storms. And Leslie and Lisa, that's pretty much what it is right now. There's no real tornado threat from what I see. But it still is causing considerable damaging winds. And so that's why we're on this right now, and that's why we're less than 3 minutes. Got it. Yeah, no more than 3 minutes. Thank you. I'm going to fire up the closed captioning and then we'll be ready. Perfect. Thank you, sir. All righty, folks. So we're just getting ready here in the studio. We're going to be taking a look at these storms, and we're going to just do a little on-air cut-in. So, William, and this just applies to all of northwest Arkansas, the severe thunderstorm risk is very low at this time. And I'll show you that on Mega Doppler real quick here. You can see those storms are definitely dying down in northwest Arkansas. There's still thunderstorms, still strong ones that are heading towards Harrison, heading towards Western Grove. but they are not severe at this time. Cox Cable is out in Fort Smith, so there's a lot of power outage reports right now. That definitely damaging wind gusts going on just off to the southeast of Fort Smith now. Yeah, this one is a bit louder than yesterday, Rachel. That is for sure. Packing a lot more of a punch. Though Northwest Arkansas, saw some pretty damaging winds yesterday. And so hopefully this can continue to die down. What about Clarksville? Clarksville is going to be, I think, avoiding the main severe weather risk. There is still going to be some heavy rainfall where you are, but I think the main thunderstorm complex is going to be off to your south. So that's certainly a good sign for Clarksville. And this severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, with the one with the considerable tag, the one that has a little bit more of an orange outline, that one goes until, let me see here. That goes until 4:30 a.m.
We'll frame the wall and then I'll be ready to go.
Perfect. I'm going to frame the wall real quick, guys. I'll be right back. Thank you.
All right. You want to go now or you want to go in a couple minutes?
Just a couple minutes. Let me get some graphics going here. Okay. So we're about to go on. I'm going to keep showing Mega Doppler here so you guys can see what's going on. Power out in Fort Smith, says Brandon. So definitely starting to get those power outage reports in Fort Smith. Things are really starting to ramp up now in that area. And it will continue to do so as we go throughout the rest of the morning as well in Fort Smith. So we're going to start here. Let's see. So if you guys have any more questions, more than happy to answer them. I'm going to be going on air in just a few moments. So by the way, and if we go back here to WSI1 full, I'm showing you what I'm doing. We've got a flash flood warning in effect until 6:30 a.m. and just off to the northwest of Fort Smith. There's that severe thunderstorm warning with the considerable tag attached to it. That one goes until 4:30 a.m. for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Charity, no tornado potential. No tornado potential. I promise. I promise right now there's no tornado potential. I'm watching these storms very closely. I will let you know if there is. Okay, another severe thunderstorm warning just got issued for portions of LaFleur County. That goes until 5 a.m. And then Hervey just said, just have pea-size here south of Waldron. So that is something that is going on right now. The good news is the hail is very small near Waldron. So that's certainly a good sign there. And then if I zoom out here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to turn off the warnings so you guys can get a better idea of what those thunderstorms are doing. We're going to make a storm track on this. Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit wider. So these storms are moving pretty quickly to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So if we put the leading edge of this line into motion here, just off to the south and east, should be arriving. I know we had a viewer in Magazine. It should be arriving in Magazine right around 4:16 a.m. Waldron at 4:34, Blue Ball at 4:37, 4:53 in Parks, and 4:56 in Briggs. So, okay, let me go ahead and put on Mega Doppler. I want that camera at the Fort Smith Public Library. It's Laura's historic site. So, guys, I'm about to go on in just a few moments here. We're going to go on air, and we're just going to give folks a quick update on what's going on with these thunderstorms, and then I'll be right back. But we just got all these warnings that are going on here, and I want to make sure everybody has the information that they need. So we're going to switch this to KNWA severe, and then we're going to be on. So I'm going to switch to on-air coverage, and then I'll be right back after this with more information for the Weather Live. All right. Good morning, everyone. Josh Rugger here in studio. Wanted to give you an update on the severe weather that is ongoing in portions of the River Valley right now. We're taking a look at our public library camera from Fort Smith. Tremendous amount of lightning, heavy rain, and damaging winds that just went through the Fort Smith area, and that is ongoing just off to the southeast as well. Here's another look from our Miss Laura's historic site in Fort Smith. We'll continue to watch that very closely, but wanted to give you an update here on Highly and Chloe Mega Doppler. We got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. These two severe thunderstorm warnings just off to the southeast of Fort Smith and near Hartford have a considerable tag attached to them. That means they can cause significant damage if there is indeed damaging winds going on. We also got another severe thunderstorm warning going on in southern portions of Logan and northern portions of Scott County. If we take a closer look at that, we've also got a flash flood warning in effect. We talked about that yesterday. The flash flooding potential certainly high with any thunderstorms that could really ramp up. That flash flood warning goes until 6:30 a.m., and that includes a large part of the River Valley. There's that first severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag attached to it. That goes until 4:30 a.m. Again, that is for 70-mile-per-hour winds. The hail threat is expected to remain below severe limits there. The second severe thunderstorm warning with that considerable tag attached to it is also for 70-mile winds. That goes until 5 a.m. That's for portions of LaFleur and far southern Sebastian County along Highway 71. And then that last severe thunderstorm warning does not have a considerable tag attached to it. That goes until 4:44 a.m. for 60-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. So watching all these things very closely here in the weather lab. If we take another look here at a wider approach at this thunderstorm, if this leading edge of the storm continues to move off to the south and east, it should be arriving in Boonville right around 4:08 a.m. We're doing a weather live right now. I know a lot of folks live in the Boonville area. If you do live there, I would take your severe weather precautions at this time. This storm can produce damage that's very similar to a tornado. We don't have any tornado on the ground right now, and we're not expecting that in our weather coverage area, but these severe thunderstorms can produce damage similar to one. So if you're in Boonville or Magazine, I would start taking those severe weather precautions as this thunderstorm moves off to the south and east. Waldron, right around 4:34 a.m. in southern portions of Scott County, 4:53 a.m. in Parks, 4:56 a.m. in Briggsville, and 5:08 a.m. in Alley. So we're watching this storm very closely. Again, we'll take one more look here at High Heating Cooley Mega Doppler. There is some hail reported just off to the north of Greenwood. Again, that is below severe limits at this time. But this thunderstorm is ramping up, and it continues to get stronger. I would not be surprised if we saw more severe thunderstorm warnings with considerable tags attached to them as this storm moves through portions of Sebastian, Franklin, Logan, and Scott counties, as well as southeast LaFleur County. Again, this storm is moving off to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. We'll continue to have coverage on our Facebook Live. You can also find that on Twitter, and we'll continue to keep you posted on the latest information. Stay safe out there, everybody, and keep it right here with your Weather Authority. All right. Can you guys hear me? I just switched the audio source again. Just wanted to give an update on air for folks, so that way they could know what was going on in the River Valley if they don't have access to social media. I know a lot of folks may not have access to the weather lives, but it does look like things are starting to die down, at least in the Fort Smith area. But southeast of there, Greenwood, Boonville, Waldron, there's that. I knew that severe thunderstorm warning was going to get a considerable tag attached to it. So that severe thunderstorm, again, is for 70-mile-per-hour winds. All these considerable severe thunderstorm warnings are for 70-mile-per-hour winds right now, just off to the southeast of Greenwood. And I know a lot of folks right now wondering about Northwest Arkansas. I am watching Northwest Arkansas, I promise you that. But these storms are just not as strong in NWA right now, and that's why we're just having to focus on the River Valley at this time. Because these storms, I mean, they could produce just as much damage as a tornado. And that's why we're having to watch them very closely and let folks know about it. So, again, all these severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on are for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So the tornado threat right now, very low. It's not zero, but it's very low. And if I look here, it looks like gusty winds to me at this time. Very strong winds. I shouldn't even say gusty. Very strong winds that are moving through portions of Sebastian, Crawford, Logan, Scott, and LaFleur counties. So we're watching that very closely right now. This first severe thunderstorm warning that's going on near the Greenwood area, that one goes until 4:30 a.m. So if we go back here to our weather graphics, I'm going to go ahead and do a little warning run through so you can get a look at all these thunderstorms here and check out all these warnings. So just stand by on that. It takes a little bit. Okay, so the first severe thunderstorm warning again, that's just off to the southeast of Fort Smith. So Fort Smith, you're in the clear in terms of significant severe weather now. It's just to the southeast of Fort Smith and portions of Franklin and Sebastian counties. That's for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That includes the cities of Charleston, Greenwood, and Levitica. Again, that goes until 4:30 a.m. The second severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag attached to it is for southwestern Sebastian and LaFleur counties. That goes until 5 a.m. And that's near the Hartford area as well. I know we got a few folks who watch there. If you're in Hartford, prepare because it's about to get really loud and really windy within the next few moments. And then if we jog off a little bit farther to the east, another severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag, and that's for 70-mile-per-hour winds, and that goes until 4:45 a.m. That includes the cities of Boonville, Lewis, and Waldron. I know we had a few folks that were watching in Y City near the Waldron area. Again, things are about to get really nasty there. I wish we had our Mount Magazine camera. I don't think that's up anymore still, and so we're not going to be able to get the greatest view of these storms. I don't think there's any iDrive Arkansas cameras there either. But we'll stay on it until the severe weather threat passes, and we'll continue to keep you posted on the latest information here. Again, these thunderstorms ramped up really quickly, and it was no surprise. Even and Rachel said it best that the models stunk it up last night. They tried to do a pump fake on us, and we did not fall for that. That's for sure. So. Again, if we go back to Hyle Heating Cooling Mega Doppler here, this storm is still very, very strong at this time. What I need to do is I need to switch to the Fort Smith radar. That will give us a better look. So it's going to take a little while to load there. But again, we've got 3 severe thunderstorm warnings, all of them with considerable tags attached to them, which means that wind gusts of 70 miles per hour are possible or occurring. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of that is occurring in a lot of locations in the River Valley. And so that's why we're on right now. That's why we did that cut in just a few moments ago. I apologize if I sounded a little bit distant there for a few moments. I was kind of running back and forth, just making sure everybody's prepared. Now, again, I know some folks were asking about rotation and tornadoes. There is some rotation, I will say that, but it's not lining up with the shear vector right now. It's not lining up with some of the characteristics of QLCS tornadoes that we typically look for. However, it does not mean we're going to let our guard down at all on this. And this is the storm that we're going to be watching very closely. That's just off to the west of Washburn. I should have had it on the Fort Smith radar before that. Now, there is a TVS symbol on it, and it does line up. So we're going to have to watch it. And I will continue to watch that. I'm going to set the storm motion for morning here. If we go back in time just a little bit, definitely has ramped up just a hair. So that's something that I'll be watching very closely. If things continue on this storm, we'll make another weather cut-in, or we'll interrupt live coverage to give you the latest. But as of now, very strong winds are going on in portions of the River Valley. Larry, this clears out fast. That means today's weather may be crazy later on this afternoon. Potentially, I do think there is still the potential for additional thunderstorm development, but we're not seeing a whole lot of that right now. So you may be right. Maybe the instability returns once again, because these storms are definitely tapping into that right now. Power is out on the south side of Fort Smith off of Jenny Lynn Road near Ramsey Junior High School. I have not looked at the power outage map yet. I'm going to do that just really fast while I'm also looking at Mega Doppler, because I do not want to take my eye off of this storm. It definitely has some characteristics of a storm that could potentially ramp up. Okay, we have a ton of folks without power in the River Valley. My goodness. Hold on just one second. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit here so you guys can see that a little bit better. But I'm going to go with a little run through here on the power outages. So for Benton County, 3,563 without power, 2,801 without power in Washington County, about 1,200 without power in Crawford County. But Sebastian County, which a lot of you folks are watching from right now, 10,094 without power. And that's about 15% of the county without power. Most of that is from OG&E Energy Corp. We've also got a few out from Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative. So that's an update there on the power outage situation. Again, I'm not surprised because these storms, first of all, you can see all the lightning that's being produced on these, and it's going to take so long to put it up there. I clicked on show lightning. There it is. And look at all that. That's a tremendous amount of lightning going on. But also because these winds are extremely strong, especially just to the southeast of Greenwood near Mansfield, Abbott, Dayton, and Crossroads, as well as Washburn. In fact, what I'm going to do here is let's go ahead and plot a few roads. That way you guys can see where exactly these storms are heading towards. But obviously, U.S. State Highway 71 is under the gun. So if you use US 71, or if you're about to go out and about on US 71, I would highly recommend not doing that. I would wait for these storms to move out of the area first, because they are certainly ramping up right now. It's very strong winds along Highway 71, and that's why we got that considerable tag attached to that severe thunderstorm warning. State Highway 378, about to get some very strong winds. Oh boy. Guys, I'm going to have to go on air. So stand by. We're going to have to go on air here. This storm is really starting to get nasty. Okay, we're going to have to go on air because this storm has really gone crazy on us. So I'm going to go ahead and let Ben know. We're going to get this all fired up here as quickly as we can. But that storm, oh man, did it ramp up really quickly. There is the potential for a tornado on the ground right now. I'd say just to the north of State Highway 77. It lines up right now. So that's what we're going to do. I'm trying to get this iPad fired up. I'm the only one here right now, so I'm just trying to get everything done. But if you're along State Highway 378, you need to be taking your tornado precautions immediately right now. And I'm going to plot a few more roads while we're getting everything set up. State Highway 80, again, U.S. Highway 71. These areas here, you need to be taking your tornado precautions now, because I think there is a tornado on the ground. It lines up with everything. At least we're on the Weather Live. We're going to get on air as quickly as possible here. But if you know anybody who lives in these areas, tell them to take their tornado precautions immediately. Okay. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to switch to on-air coverage. I'm going to go ahead and switch the audio source, and we'll get this thing rolling. So stand by. Hi there, everyone. Josh Rugger here in studio. Wanted to give you an update on these severe thunderstorms. I have a hunch that we've got a tornado potentially on the ground just to the southeast of Mansville. I'm going to step out of the way here so you guys can get a better look at that storm, but we're going to be looking at some areas of rotation here. Again, we've plotted some of the roads that are near this area of rotation that's going on southeast of Mansfield. And if we look here on storm relative velocity, it lines up with what we typically see from QLCS tornadoes. I know there's not a tornado warning on the storm right now, but we wanted to give you the latest information. A lot of the products that we use are showing that there is the potential that a tornado could be on the ground right now. So that's why we're watching it very closely. Again, at the very least, we are seeing very strong winds from this storm, but I'm going to kind of come back into view here so you folks can see that a little bit better. Again, just to the northwest of State Highway 378, southeast of Mansville, this area right here, this is our PTDS product. This is our tornado detection product, and it is dropping potentially some damage. Now, this could very well be damaging winds that are going on southeast of Mansville and southwest of Highway 71, but I have a hunch based on the products that we use, storm relative velocity, base reflectivity, that there is the potential that a tornado is on the ground just northwest of State Highway 378. So we're going to be watching this very closely. I'm going to step out of view here so we can take another look. This is around 4:12 a.m., so we're going to get another scan pretty soon on this storm, and we'll see a little bit more information on what exactly is going on with it. But right now, if you are just southeast of Mansfield near Hunn and Abbott, you need to be taking your tornado precautions. Even if there isn't a tornado on the ground right now, based on what we look at in these type of events, I have a feeling that there could be one right now, and at the very least, damaging winds. So we're watching that very closely. We'll continue to keep an eye on the latest warnings as well. In terms of those warnings, if we go back here to Heil Heating Cooling, towards live Doppler radar, and we look at these thunderstorms that are going on, and it'll take a little while to load, but we're going to go through these warnings that are going on now just to the southeast of the Fort Smith area. Again, we've got that considerable severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Franklin and Sebastian counties. That goes until 4:30 a.m. for 70-mile-per-hour winds. The hail is below severe limits. It looks like we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. So we'll take a look at that. 5 a.m., again, for that severe thunderstorm warning near LaFleur and Sebastian County, just off to the southwest of Boonville. Another severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Scott County. That was the new severe thunderstorm warning that was just now issued. That goes until 5:15 a.m., just to the south of Waldron. And then another severe thunderstorm warning, again, with the considerable tag attached to it for 70-mile-per-hour winds for portions of Logan and northeastern Scott County. So again, we're watching this very closely. We just got another scan on Mega Doppler here, so we're going to go back to that, and we're going to take a look at these thunderstorms here because, again, there was that brief period of time where we saw that TVS drop, where we saw what could potentially have been a tornado on the ground just a few moments ago. If we go back a couple scans here, you can see that storm ramping up south of Mansfield. Now, it does look like that the rotation has dropped off quite a bit. So that's the good news. I'm going to step back on here. You saw that area of rotation just a few moments ago. This is the latest scan, and based on what I'm seeing, if there was a tornado on the ground, it has lifted at this point. But we're still going to be watching this very closely. And again, we stressed this just a few moments ago on our weather live stream that these storms can cause just as much damage as a tornado. Even if there's no tornado on the ground, damaging winds can cause just as much damage in a larger area. And that storm was very, very strong south of Mansfield just a few moments ago. And if it wasn't a tornado, it definitely was damage that was being produced by portions of Mansfield and Abbott. So we just got an update from our production team. How many outages do we have in Sebastian County right now? Okay, we got to look at that right there. So it looks like Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative, 2 members without power there. In Washington County, 2,651 without power from Ozarks Electric Cooperative. Do we have poweroutage.us pulled up? Okay, there we go. So Sebastian County, we saw this on our weather live stream just a few moments ago, about 10,094 without power in portions of Sebastian County. That's about 15% of the county. I wouldn't be surprised if that number continues to go up over the next few moments there. Let's take a look at Crawford County as well. So about 1,221 without power there. Washington County, again, about 2,801. In Benton County, I think about 3,563. So quite a few power outages going on in portions of northwest Arkansas this morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some reports of damage as well. We're getting confirmed wind gusts of 70 miles per hour just to the southeast of Fort Smith. Again, we're watching this storm very closely. We'll drop off once we determine that this storm has weakened a little bit more. But again, if we go back one scan here, which is what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you that there was the potential for a tornado just off to the southeast of Mansfield. Again, we're getting more warnings right now from the National Weather Service. But if we go back here to our tornado detection product, I'm going to show you anytime we see that white drop on it, that's with about 95 to 99% confidence that there was debris lofted. And again, if it wasn't from a tornado, it was from damaging wind gusts southeast of Mansfield. This storm is very strong still. Even though that PTDS has dropped off of it, it is still producing damaging wind gusts. There's no doubt about that. But based on a lot of the products that we use, I would not be surprised if there was one just briefly that occurred southeast of Mansfield. But again, if we take a wider view here, we look at this entire storm. If you're in the Fort Smith area, you're pretty much in the clear at this point. I think the majority of the shower and storm activity is just off to the southeast of Fort Smith now. I think most of that activity has moved out of that area. But if we go back here and we look very closely again, you can see the leading edge of that line. That's where those damaging winds are. So the Waldron area, you need to be prepared for the potential for severe thunderstorms within the next few moments. Y-City, again, we've been talking about that all day. That's where that new severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. Boonville as well, about to get some very heavy rainfall and strong winds, and areas along and south of Greenwood are also about to see that. So we're watching that very closely at this time. I know I'm going back and forth a little bit, but just because I'm the only one here right now, so we're just trying to hold down the fort here and make sure we get every single warning outlined because we just want to make sure everybody's covered with this thunderstorm. But again, there was that brief period of time where we might have had some rotation just to the southeast of Mansfield. We're going to go through all these severe thunderstorm warnings again here on live Doppler radar. So again, that severe thunderstorm warning near the Boonville area, that one goes until 4:30 a.m. That's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. Hail is below severe limits, so that's certainly a good sign. But again, that's for portions of Franklin and Sebastian County. So that will expire within the next 10 minutes or so. The new severe thunderstorm warning that we were talking about in Scott County, that goes until 5:15 a.m. That's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. And that's, again, just in areas along and north of Highway 270. If you are driving on these highways this morning, or if you use these highways or interstates to get to work, I would delay travel just a little bit because these storms are strong enough to blow you off the road. And I would not be out and about with these thunderstorms that are going on in these areas. If we go a little bit farther to the northwest here, we've got that other severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for LaFleur and Sebastian County. That goes into 5 a.m. Again, that's for considerable damaging wind gusts that could be up to 70 miles per hour. And I wouldn't doubt if some of those storms have already produced damaging wind gusts up to that. In fact, if we go over here and we look at NWS chat, we look at our confirmed reports from the National Weather Service in Tulsa, about 3.5 miles east of Mill Creek. There was a report of a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. So that's a confirmed report from the National Weather Service office in Tulsa. And that's why we're on these storms right now, because not only are they producing very damaging wind gusts, they are also producing the threat for tornadoes. And so we'll keep watching this storm very closely. We'll drop off of our on-air coverage once we determine that this thunderstorm has wound down in terms of rotation. If we take one more look here at storm relative velocity, again, the storm has died down quite a bit. So that's the good news. If we go back here to Heil Heat and Cooling Mega Doppler, this storm has died down quite a bit in terms of that rotation, but still something that we're watching very closely at this time. We're going to go right back here to Mega Doppler. It should load up in just a few moments, and there you go. Right where that cursor is, that's where that area of rotation was just a little bit earlier, just to the west of Mansfield. We did see that tornado detection drop there, that PTDS signal, which typically means that there was debris lofted. So we're going to continue to watch that very closely. Again, there is very strong winds moving through Hunt at this time, just to the southeast of Boonville. I know we got a lot of folks who watch in the magazine area. Those winds are about to ramp up very quickly. Bates also seeing some very strong winds. The good news is I do notice a little bit of a downtrend along the line in terms of how strong those winds are. So we're watching that very closely. We're going to continue to monitor this situation. But I think if things continue to die down, we'll drop this on-air coverage in about 5 minutes and go back to Facebook. But again, just something that we've got to watch very closely. That's why we always stay on our toes in the weather lab. These storms can really get strong very, very quickly. And again, if you live in these areas, I would be taking my tornado precautions right now in areas along and south of Waldron, just in case, because these thunderstorms can produce just as much damage as a tornado. We're going to go back here to live Doppler radar. We're going to take another look at these severe thunderstorm warnings. And we had another flash flood warning that was just now issued that I wasn't able to touch on. Before we do that, though, we've got another report of a 74-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at Fort Smith Regional Airport. So that's a confirmed wind gust from the National Weather Service office in Tulsa, 74-mile-per-hour wind gust at Fort Smith Regional Airport. And that lines up with everything that we've been seeing on radar. So we're going to take another look at all these severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings here. This is the flash flood warning that's in effect for a large part of the River Valley, Adair, Crawford, Sebastian, Sequoia counties, other counties, even southwest Washington County in that flash flood warning. That goes until 6:30 a.m. I'm expecting that to expire pretty quickly, though, unless we get some additional shower and storm development. I think that flash flood warning will be dropped pretty soon for that area. Again, we've been watching that one severe thunderstorm warning just off to the southeast of Greenwood. That's for 70-mile-per-hour winds. That goes until 4:30 a.m. Another severe thunderstorm warning just off to the east of Poto in LaFleur County. That goes until 5 a.m. You can see that's also for southwestern Sebastian County along Highway 71. Jog a little bit farther to the south here in Scott County. Another severe thunderstorm warning in effect for 70-mile-per-hour winds. That goes until 5:15 a.m. And then one last look at that severe thunderstorm warning that's going on south of Boonville. Again, that goes until 4:45 a.m. So we'll do one more storm track here just so everybody can get a look at where they could see this storm within the next couple of hours or so. Again, it's starting to move to southeast out of our weather coverage area relatively quickly, so that's certainly a positive trend, and hopefully these storms continue to go on a weakening trend. But they are moving to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So if we take that leading edge of the line just to the southeast of Highway 71, jog it off to the south and east, you can see 4:24 a.m. Magazine, 4:31 a.m. in Waldron, 4:44 a.m. in Parks, 5:12 a.m. in Alley, and 5:31 a.m. in Mount Ida, which I know is out of our weather coverage area. But if you got folks that live in these areas, just let them know that they need to potentially prepare for some very strong thunderstorms, because these storms are very nasty right now. Confirmed reports of damage and very strong winds in portions of Fort Smith. And we're going to continue to watch that very closely as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours. But with that, I think we can go ahead and drop off our on-air coverage. If you want to continue to follow the latest information, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Keep it right here with your Weather Authority team, and stay safe. All right, folks, right back at it here. Went ahead and dropped off our on-air coverage. Again, this storm that went on, that was south of Mansfield, I think produced a tornado. Everything with it lined up, and that's why we were on the air there. We wanted to make sure folks were alerted about this storm, but wow, it was just really ramped up very quickly. And again, there's still very strong winds that are going on south of Hunt at this time. But still, we're going to continue to monitor that situation very, very closely over the next few moments or so, because these storms can ramp up. You saw that just a few moments ago. These storms ramped up really quickly. And again, I would not be surprised if this was confirmed as a tornado. Again, we'll look one more time here. Correlation coefficient has a drop as well. If we set that storm motion from warning, just want to make sure that was done. So it was done. Again, it just had that look on it. And if it wasn't a tornado, it definitely was damaging winds. But anytime we see that drop on our PTDS product, that's usually a sign that debris is being lofted. And so we just have to be on air when we see something like that, especially with storms like these that are tapping into a tremendous amount of instability. Charity, you're from the Magazine area, so I'm going to go back here because we mentioned that on air just a few moments ago. Magazine going to get some strong winds, but I think the stronger winds are going to be off to your south and west. So things are starting to ramp up, that's for sure. But I think the strongest winds are going to be just off to the south and west of your location. We're going to watch these trends very closely, but I do think the majority of that is going to be just off to the southwest of your area. Again, if you're in Waldron along State Highway 71, you need to be getting ready because the winds are about to really ramp up if they already aren't. Very heavy rainfall, tremendous amount of lightning being seen from these thunderstorms, and something to watch very closely. Now, good news is these storms have definitely downtrended a little bit in terms of their severity. I can definitely see that right now when looking at the radar and when looking at what's going on with the wind. So Matthew says, I bet we didn't have a nice tornado come through Fort Smith. We got some down trees. Okay, so in the Fort Smith area, Matthew, is definitely strong winds. There's no doubt about that. I don't think it was a tornado. I think there was the potential for a tornado, though, south of Mansfield. I mean, all of our products that we use line up with that. And there is a lot of reports of damage coming in out of the Fort Smith area, as well as flash flooding. Several water rescues being reported in the city right now. So this has definitely been a very dangerous morning for a lot of folks in the River Valley. Northwest Arkansas got a lot of heavy rain, but it moved out relatively quickly. This storm, though, it just is training thunderstorms. That's what we talk about a lot of times. Those are what typically produce the strongest flash flooding potential, the strongest wind potential, and that is unfortunately coming to fruition right now. A lot of folks with their power out. I've been seeing a lot of that this morning. We talked about that on air. In fact, if we give another update here, I'm going to look at that for y'all. So we got 12,251 without power in Sebastian County, 1,296 without power in Crawford County. There's going to be a lot more coming soon for portions of Logan and Scott County. Washington and Benton County, about 6,000 combined power outages there. So definitely has been a very rough morning in portions of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, but especially in the River Valley. Just keeping an eye on these reports as well. We've got that, of course, that 74 mile per hour wind gust that was reported at Fort Smith Regional Airport. That's confirmed, by the way. Another 70 mile per hour wind gust in the Fort Smith area as well. Let's see here. Just keeping a close eye on everything. Trees down at Mazard Road and Lee Lane in Fort Smith. So that's a confirmed report from the National Weather Service. And, of course, there's water rescues that are going on in portions of Fort Smith as well. And you can see that with these flash flood warnings. I mean, a tremendous amount of heavy rain. And Charity, if you're still watching right now in the magazine area, that's my main concern right now with these storms that are moving through your area is the flash flooding potential, because these storms are really producing a lot of heavy rainfall. Now, I did want to get an update for Northwest Arkansas as well. I know a lot of folks might be waking up in NWA, probably wondering what's going on. These storms are still strong that are moving into Northwest Arkansas, and they will potentially have some gusty winds with them, especially in far Northwest Benton County. But the severe weather potential at this time is low. So we're going to watch that very closely. Actually, I should say that's moving off to the south and east. So that's moving towards Fayetteville. So we're going to watch this storm very closely as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours. Again, we got that considerable severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Boonville, Waldron, and portions of Y City. Again, if we go through these storms, 70 mile per hour winds and nickel-sized hail are our main concerns. This severe thunderstorm warning located near Boonville and Waldron goes until 5 o'clock a.m., so right at the start of our 5 o'clock newscast. This other severe thunderstorm warning in Scott County is also for 70 mile per hour winds, and that goes until 5:15 a.m. And that storm is moving off to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. We got a lot of flash flood warnings in effect. Charity, if you're still watching, and magazine flash flood warning is in effect for magazine, and that goes until 7:10 a.m. So we're watching that very, very closely right now, and we'll continue to keep you posted. More reports from NWS chat. Trees down in various other parts of Sebastian County, especially around Bonza and Hackett. So if we look here, look a little bit closer, there's Bonza, there's Hackett. We go back in time just a little bit. I didn't switch to the Fort Smith radar quite well. I got it right when it was moving in. So right around 3:30 a.m., that's when things started going down in Bonza and Hackett. And that lines up with radar. And remember, as this storm moved off to the south and east, we were watching that rotation very closely. And it, sure enough, it ramped up for just a brief period of time. I would not be surprised, folks, if we had a tornado southeast of Mansfield. And that's why we went on air. That's why we were looking at this very closely. That's why we were so concerned. But again, I would not be surprised if there was a tornado that went on southeast of Mansfield. Thankfully, it looks like it was brief, but it was still something that potentially caused some damage. And there's definitely damage from damaging wind gusts across a lot of areas in the River Valley. But hopefully we get some more clarity on what exactly went down there over the next few minutes. Rachel, I was going to have a garage sale today. I think I'll put that on the back burner and opt for a nap. No kidding. What a crazy morning that has been. And I mean, it just goes from 0 to 100 really quick. And that's why we're here. That's why we watch these things very closely. And that's why we're not gonna let our guard down with any of these storms. Now, the good news is they are going to be moving out of our weather coverage area pretty soon. But at the same time, before that happens, we're going to be on this, and we're going to be watching this very closely. I know we got a show starting in about 28 minutes. So that will be that'll be going on. If you want to continue to watch everything once we get off of here, you can watch that on KNWA News. I know our direct TV viewers can't watch that, unfortunately, and I wish we had a solution there. But we got KNWA Today coming up in about 30 minutes. That's at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. We've also got Fox 24 News at 7. Majority of the storms, at least these severe thunderstorms, should be off to the south and east of our area by the time we get to the Fox show. But we're still going to be here watching that flash flooding potential very closely. Stand by for just 1 second. Doing one thing real quick. Just want to make sure I've got everything down here on the radar archives because I want to make sure we have access to this when we look at it in the future. Because this was a very interesting storm that went on near Mansfield. So it was near. Okay, so I just wanted to let Dan know about that real quick. I know he's probably sleeping right now, which he deserves it after burning the midnight oil last night. But again, I just want to make sure we're on these storms. And again, we're watching these strong winds very closely. Now just to the southeast of Waldron, if you're near Wise City, Bowles Park, Blue Mountain, those areas, get ready. It's coming. And at the same time, too, we're going to be watching these little areas of rotation. We saw that earlier near Mansfield that occurred, which lines up with radar. It's that same exact thunderstorm. So we'll be here watching that. Looks like we got a new flash flood warning in effect right over Bowles, Parks, and Wise City. That flash flood warning goes until 7:35 a.m. And that's indicated by radar. But, of course, we're getting confirmed reports of water rescues going on in portions of Fort Smith. So it's definitely been a dangerous morning for a lot of folks in the River Valley. And hopefully these things can die down pretty quick because we definitely don't need to see any more rain in the River Valley. I know we needed some in Northwest Arkansas. It's good that we're getting some shower and storm activity. They are below severe limits north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. But at the same time, really don't want any more heavy rainfall going on in the River Valley with the amount of rain that's already been seen in a lot of locations. Let's see here. So if you were keeping an eye on the weather over the last couple of days, you saw the flooding that went down in portions of southern Arkansas. This is not like that. Not nearly as catastrophic, but we're still seeing that flash flooding in portions of the River Valley, unfortunately. And that's why we're doing this weather live. That's why we're keeping a close eye on everything. And that's why we're going to continue to keep you posted on the latest info. If we make another storm track here, again, it's on the far southern areas of our weather coverage area now. But if we do another storm track on this storm, it should be arriving in Parks, at least the strong winds, within the next, let's say, 15 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes. The Parks area will be experiencing some strong winds. So if you live near there, or you know folks that live near there, make sure they're aware of that. If we look at 5 o'clock a.m. Bluffton, just off to the southeast of Parks and Cedar Creek. 5:18 a.m. Odin, which is out of our weather coverage area, and 5:31 Mount Ida, which is also in Montgomery County, which is southeast of us. But still, we're going to be watching these storms closely until they move out of our weather coverage area. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to switch back here to Mega Doppler. We're going to take one more look at these thunderstorms, and then I think I'm going to wrap this up because I need to start getting ready for our 5 o'clock newscast. I'm also here by myself. So I got to just make sure all my graphics are ready to go so we have enough for when we do our coverage on air. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect for portions of the River Valley. One of those for southwestern Logan and northeastern Scott County. That goes until 4:45 a.m. So within the next 8 minutes, that severe thunderstorm warning should expire. The other severe thunderstorm warning going on in Scott County will expire at 5:15 a.m. Both of these storms are moving to the southeast at 35 miles per hour and should be moving out of our weather coverage area fairly soon. But again, this storm has a history of producing very strong winds, confirmed damage that went on in areas of the river valley, and hopefully this can continue to die down as we go throughout the rest of the morning hours. So I'm not going to go off completely yet, and it's just because I am still watching this storm very closely going on south of Waldron. I don't want to let our guard down right now, especially with how quickly that storm ramped up southeast of Mansfield. I'm glad we were here on the Weather Live. I'm a little bit upset that I wasn't on air for that. But these storms, they just ramp up so quickly. You just got to keep an eye on them like a hawk, and praying that everything is okay south of Mansfield and okay in a lot of areas in the river valley. If you do have any damage, if you've seen any damage, you can send those photos into weather@knwa.com. Love to just kind of see the pattern of everything and see, what exactly has gone down this morning in the river valley. Of course, we have some WeatherBug Network cameras in Fort Smith. We saw that heavy rain that was moving through the area, as well as strong winds. But our Mount Magazine camera's down, so we're not getting a good look at this storm that's going on near Wise City, unfortunately. But we can still look at radar, and we can still see that strong winds are occurring northwest of Bowles, northwest of Wise City, just out to the east of Black Fork, and about to arrive in the Parks area within the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. So we're just going to stay on until that storm winds down. We can do a little bit of a radar tour, though, and we'll do that really quick here and show you all these severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on. I'll also show you what's going on in portions of northwest Arkansas. Melissa, Washington, Lowell. So let's go to northwest Arkansas right now. Just speaking of which, I know a lot of folks want to know what's going down. Another Melissa. By the way, we got 2 Melissas back to back right there. How about that? Asking about northwest Arkansas too. So northwest Arkansas, good news is we haven't seen as much severe weather as in the river valley. There is some reports of some tree limbs down in areas of Springdale. That's what I've seen so far. But the good news is the severe weather potential is pretty low at this point in NWA. We do have some strong storms that are starting to move into Delaware County, as well as Adair County along Highway 62. I'll point those out for you right here. These storms, those are moving southwest towards Fayetteville, but they should stay below severe limits, so I don't want to say that's going to be completely the case. So we're going to be watching it very closely. But for northwest Arkansas, things are a little bit less severe at this point. Now, River Valley, different story. We're going to go through these warnings real quick here, just so you guys can get an idea of what we're looking at. So we've got the flash flood warning in effect for a large part of the River Valley, southwestern Washington County included in that, as well as Crawford, Sebastian, Sequoia, and Adair counties. That goes until 6:30 a.m. We'll see if additional rains move through these areas. But as of right now, I don't think that's going to be the case, at least significant rainfall like we just saw. Another flash flood warning in effect just off to the west of Ozark. That goes until 7:30 a.m. for Crawford, Franklin, LaFleur, and Sebastian counties. Then if we jog a little bit farther to the south, flash flood warning. That one was recently issued for Logan and Scott counties. That goes until 7:10 a.m. That includes the cities of Boonville, Lewis, and Waldron. And then another flash flood warning, as well as a severe thunderstorm warning with a considerable tag for portions of Scott County. That goes until 7:35 a.m. for the flash flood warning. And I'm going to move myself out of the way so you can see that. And 5:15 a.m. for the severe thunderstorm warning. So it's been a loud morning. It has been a dangerous morning for a lot of folks in the River Valley. And hopefully these storms can either weaken or move out of our coverage area relatively quickly. Again, if you're looking for confirmed reports, I can go through those one more time. Again, near Fort Smith Regional Airport, we had a report of 74 mile per hour winds there, and as well as multiple trees down in a lot of locations across Sebastian County. We've also had a report of water rescues going on in Fort Smith. We're going to be watching those very closely. 70 mile per hour wind gusts confirmed. And another area of Fort Smith, just to 3.5 miles northeast of Mill Creek. And then, this is not confirmed yet, but I would not be surprised if we saw a tornado report near Mansfield as well. They're going to obviously do a damage survey. They're obviously going to keep an eye on everything there, but we'll see what went down. But what's going on, Savannah?
Just wanted to give you a heads up. Your first weather hit is like normal, and then the rest of them are combined.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you. So again, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because I got to get ready for the show. I got to make sure I have enough graphics that we can kind of go through everything. I've got most things prepared now, but just got to make sure we're ready to go. But I appreciate everybody who joined in today. Again, we're going to continue our coverage on KNWA today. That starts at 5 a.m. We also have it at 6. We'll get more reports in. We'll confirm things, and we'll let you know about the latest info. Also got Fox 24 News at 7 as well. But for now, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks, everybody. Once again, stay safe out there. We'll continue to give you the latest updates, and thank you so much for trusting your Weather Authority team.